I've always said that the red pill is like open source. Like I think people should take the code and build upon that code and improve it and add features to it and say, hey, have you thought about this? And
with the current what we deem as the manosphere, which is all these men who are speaking on a lot of these topics, would you say that the majority right now that are kind of visible or getting the biggest audiences are kind of about like what you're talking about? Or do you think that there's more so like grifting and other ego trips?
I think that a lot of it has to do with what I call an ecosystem, right? So a lot of people used to be about it, right? A lot of people would, I can remember back in 2016, 2017, like I said, when hashtag MGTOW was trending, right? Yeah. Then everybody who wanted to get in on, here, create a YouTube channel and get rich, right? And so you can go with money, muscles, and game. Are you a fitness influencer? Are you an entrepreneur, sort of success guru guy, or do you want to start talking about game and the red pill and stuff? And that's usually was the easiest one for people to get into, because if you were fat, no one was going to take you seriously as a fitness influencer, and if you were broke, no one was going to take you seriously as an entrepreneur. So the easier way was just to simply say, okay, well, I'll go with dating and relationships and everything. That's something everybody knows something about. What they do is they would just go and look for hashtags that were trending on YouTube or on Twitter or whatever, and manosphere, MGTOW,
yep,
doom pill, black pill, red pill, blue pill, purple pill, whatever pill. And so people would just use that as sort of, part of their list of hashtags and, ats for the algorithm to pick up on. And then suddenly they became an influencer, right? In that space. A lot of people wanted to do, hell, I helped a lot of people get their, their brand off the ground.
I mean, that's kind of what you're doing right now, but that's neither here nor there.
Well, but I don't have a problem with that. See, because the thing is like I helped Jedediah Bila get her brand off the ground. Well, I mean, Fresh and Fit. Me and Hotep Jesus were the first two guests on Fresh and Fit. And I can remember back in 2021 and 2022, there wasn't a month that I wasn't in Miami doing at least one show with those guys. And I remember the day they hit 100,000, and I was still at 85,000, and I was actually there on the show when I hit 100,000. And yeah, it was kind of cool because we were both coming up together, right? It was and then of course they just blew up, exploded. So by August of 2021, they're turning $150,000 every month just in super chats. So
yeah.
So things I'm happy for him, because as far as I'm concerned, Myron's one of the best. I wish he would get back to talking more about like red pill as far as like intersexual dynamics is concerned. But I still think he's one of the best representatives of the red pill there's ever been. There's a few other people I would say too. I don't think I'm like the be all end all of everything, but it doesn't end and begin with me. I mean, it certainly began with me. So I don't know. But I think people, when they see like Andrew Tate or they see some of these people who are just sort of come ups right now, like Andrew Tate wasn't even a household name beyond 2021, 2022. So that's what everybody wants to sort of say he's the face. Everybody wants a figurehead, like they want a leader, right? They want to
seems like it.
Yeah, they want somebody who's the leader of the army, right? They want somebody and to his credit, Tate stepped in, and for a while there, I thought it was going to be Myron, and then I thought it was going to be Kevin Samuels, and Kevin Samuels passed away, and then Tate stepped into that vacuum, and now I'm not so sure that he's really about it anymore, or even wants to be about it anymore. And so as far as the message getting out, I'm good with that. Like I've always said that the red pill is like open source. Like I think people should take the code and build upon that code and improve it and add features to it and say, hey, have you thought about this and everything? But usually what people do is they take the code and they go, I wrote the code. This is me. It's like, no, there's 100 other people that came before you that wrote that code. Or else maybe it's just their followers think that they did, because I think, people think that the red pill started, 2 years ago. It's like, no, it's more like 22 years ago. So, and then trying to explain that to people go, well, you're old. You don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, no, that's exactly why I know what I'm talking about.
You know what? Related to that, What's the for the audience, people who are young or even people who are older who are just now being exposed to this stuff the last few years, how would you separate all these different color pills? Obviously, it
Yeah.
came right. This is an original reference from the Matrix, but
Mhm.
like beyond that, like what's the difference in your mind between what a blue pill perspective or man is versus black pill versus
Mhm.
red pill? Like for people who might be confused, like what do all of these pills mean?
Well, okay, so when I use the term red pill and I use this, and I've back through my archives on social, I've never deviated from. I'm the most consistent voice in the manosphere about this stuff. But like whenever we use the term blue pill or red pill, I mean, we're referring to the Matrix,
Mhm.
and in fact, we used to call it, you're still stuck in the Matrix kind of thing. Back in the forum days. And so we kind of made this distinction for guys who were sort of uneducated, who didn't know about female nature, didn't know about male nature for that matter either, didn't know how sort of the game was rigged against them, or maybe even for them, depending on how you view it. Because that's
Mhm.
why I always keep saying that the red pill is a praxeology. People want to turn it into a belief set. They want to turn it into a movement. Like I said, they need a leader. They want to turn it into a cult, a movement, a belief, a philosophy. And it's none of those. It's
Mhm.
it's simply a collection of data, and how you choose to use that data and how you choose to take that data and interpret it and then put it into practice. That's when you get the black pill. That's when you get the pickup artists. That's when you get
Mhm.
uh,
Mhm.
the white pill. Christians will come up to me and say, or even Muslims will come up to me and say, well, Rollo, I believe in everything you said is 100% true, but I'm a Christian or I'm a Muslim and I don't believe in premarital sex. What do I do? Well, you read my book on religion, which is why I wrote the book, just specifically
Mhm.
for those guys. But it's fascinating to me to see how people will take it and put it into practice per their own convictions. So if you are of a mindset where you're kind of like depressive and you're kind of like gloom and doom and you're despondent and nihilistic and everything, you're going to take that information that the red pill presents you, and you're probably going to use that as in a practice that is, well, just forget about it. We're all doomed. My face is messed up and I'm fat and I'll never be able to,
Yeah.
it becomes, it accentuates or it exacerbates or I don't know, exaggerates whatever you've already sort of interpreted about yourself, right? So this is
Mhm.
now that you've been cut away from your old way of thinking, your blue pill way of thinking, and you're in this sort of new red pill paradigm. What are you going to do with the information? So when I talk about blue pill and red pill, I always talk about blue pill conditioning and red pill awareness. I always use
Mhm.
those terms when I refer to the red pill and to the blue pill.
I've noticed that in in several of your writings. That I
Yeah.
didn't realize that where it's like the conditioning blue pill is obviously what society or westernized countries have been kind of forcing on all of us to a degree, but particularly the men.
Mhm.
Whereas the red pill is the awakening, the awareness of this conditioning and what it's been kind of setting men up for failure in terms of reactions and interactions with women.
And not all guys are ready for that information, right? I
Mhm.
mean, I can't help it how they're going to take it, right? Because everybody, oh, well, Rolla, you're creating incels. No, I'm not. They were going to be incels whether I came along or not, whether I gave them that information or not. They're just taking that information. They're saying, here's the data. Here's what I know. Here's my new awareness. This is what I think should be the best practice, right? So if you look at, like, say, guys like Matt Walsh or Michael Knowles or some of these guys who
Mhm.
are like sort of the traditional conservative kind of guys,
Yeah.
they pick and pull aspects out of the data sets and they conveniently ignore the stuff that they don't like, that doesn't align with their religion or their convictions or whatever, and they sort of plug it into the manosphere or the red pill. They plug it into what there is and say, see, we were right all along. It's like, well, what about all this other stuff? Well,
Mhm.
never
Mhm.
mind that, right? What they're doing is they're taking that data and they're using it in the context of what they think ought to be best practices. So the black pill is a practice. MGTOW is a practice. Here's what
Mhm.
just forget it. Just like, men, we should just go our own way. I mean, that's a verb, for crying out loud.
Yeah, literally, yeah.
Literally, we're going to take this information. We think that the best move is not to play the game, right? I don't happen to share that, but like, then if you look at like black pill doomers, if you look at incels, if you look at MGTOW, if you look at MRAs, if you look at trad pill, white pill, whatever they're calling it now, all they're doing is taking the information that the red pill has presented to them over the course of 20 plus years, and they're saying, we've interpreted the data. This is what we have, and this is what we think the best practices are for. Awesome, go for it. I don't necessarily share those convictions with you. I don't subscribe to the just let it all burn school of thought. I'm if anything, I think it's encouraging, because you have accurate information now, and you can leverage that way differently than when you were still in your blue pill conditioned doldrums, right? You didn't know any better. So yeah, I almost can't blame guys who like got divorced before they knew all this stuff, or they got like rolled by some girl, or they got, a girl pregnant because they didn't know any better or whatever. Like, they had all these beliefs that they had. And I think those guys are really tough to reach. Well, it's even when you do reach them, it's really tough. But it gets to the point where like they're what we call awakened while married. There's guys who are like, really marriage.
Women are pissed about it.
They go, oh man, I wish I had known this before, right? So what's their best practice? How are they going to take that data and incorporate it into their lives so that they can get their wife to have sex with them again? What are they going to do, right? It's all about practice versus the theory versus the data, right? And that's the difference. So that's the difference between, it's like Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate preaches a practice. He's not the red pill. He just takes the data that's convenient for his brand, plugs it into his brand, and that's his practice. That's his. I'm a man, right? That's a movement. That definitely a movement. MGTOW is a movement. Hell, men going their own way is a movement. MRAs, men's rights activists, right? That's a movement. So they're just taking the data that we've cultivated over the course of, like I said, 22 years, and they're just using it for what they think is best practice.